YouTube. I'm Joni, and I was recently inspired to begin my own knitting podcast because I'm just like that. So anyway, welcome to episode 1. So a little bit about me. I first learned to knit when I was about 9 years old, and I literally knew how to knit, and that's about it. I couldn't purl. Then, during 2020, I decided I needed a hobby because I had lost my job, my pet fish died, I had nothing going on, so here we are. So for this first episode, I wanted to focus a bit on my recent trip to Rhinebeck because that happened, I did it, as well as all the yarn I picked up on my recent trip to the UK, which was just a few weeks ago, and all of the pre-game Rhinebeck events because I am a level 7 susceptible. So, if you're interested, grab a glass or can of something you need to be a certain age to purchase. I have this lovely cider donut cider that is very sweet. Yeah, so let's get into it. So I do want to start with my trip to the UK because chronological order, that makes sense? Yes? No? Okay. So it was pretty cool. I flew into London, then took a train up to Edinburgh, and then another train down to Liverpool, stayed in each place for a few days, and then back to London the morning of my flight. That was stressful. So yes, while I was in Scotland is where I did my yarn shopping. So the first day of yarn storing, I went to Be Inspired Fibers and picked up a couple things. So the first one, and let me put down my drink, is this really lovely wool. It's from a yarn from North Ronaldsay. You can't really see, but it is this like DK weight, 255 meters and 110 grams, and I believe this is just natural, undyed. So apparently the sheep that this is from are from some island near Scotland, but they're apparently these rare feral sheep who eat exclusively seaweed, and I thought that was kind of cool. They eat seaweed, and the yarn is really interesting feeling. It's not like the soft, smooth ones that everyone loves, but it's also not as like rough and scratchy as some of the other yarns I'm going to show. But it's got this like light, crisp sort of texture. And when I heard that they eat seaweed, I don't know if it's like psychological or something, but I can almost like picture the like seaweed and seashore and ocean waves kind of in this yarn. It's light, and it almost has a feel like a little bit like a linen. So it's just really, really lovely, and despite it being 100% wool, I kind of see myself making some sort of summer top with this just because of that like light, airy quality that it has. So I'm really excited about that. The second thing I picked up at that same store, Be Inspired Fibers, is 3 skeins of this Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles. This is the colorway Poppy, and I just find it really beautiful. I'm usually more of a neutral kind of person, but something about all these like colors and speckles and just the complexity of it really sold me, and I always love just the look of a single ply yarn, so that also helped. So I just love, like, if you like even just like move these, you can just see all the like different colors that are like layered in there, and it's really beautiful. So I got that, and then of course that wasn't enough for a whole week-long trip. So the next day I went to a second yarn store, which is Ginger Twist Studio. And to start off, I got this cute tote bag. I actually saw someone else carrying this exact same thing at Rhinebeck, and I would have run after them to like be excited about it, but I was eating, so I couldn't be torn away from my food. So there I got also two more yarns. The first one is this Ginger's hand-dyed Splendid Lace. This is the colorway Factory Girls, and I think you're about to notice a theme here. I really like greens lately. So this is a 55% superwash British blue face Leicester and 45% silk. So it's this lace weight yarn that's just like got a really lovely sheen, and it's really, really soft and smooth. And I think my plan for this is to hold it double to like a fingering weight, and probably make some sort of like simple t-shirt kind of thing, because that's the kind of project that I really like, which you will learn. And the second thing I got is also lace weight, and it's also the Ginger's hand dyed. It's the Leading Lady lace, and it's this like really lovely lavender color, and I can't quite read what the colorway is on the tag because I'm horrible, but it's just a light lavender with like just a subtle like tonal variation. And I think my plan for this, because you will notice another theme, is that I keep accidentally buying more and more lavender mohair, is I want to hold these two together and knit a balloon cardigan from Petite Knit, which happens to be the cardigan I'm wearing, which I will show in a moment. Yeah, I think, I'm not sure, but I think these two together would create something kind of interesting. And I will probably want to like swatch and make sure, but I think just all these bright colors would kind of have an interesting effect with this like lavender. But people can feel free to weigh in. So that was my trip to the UK, yarn-wise. There was plenty of other stuff on the trip, but that is the yarn I picked up. So since I'm doing things chronologically, I was also going to talk about the whip that I brought for my trip. So this is the Harvest Tea by Ozetta, and as you can see, it doesn't really look like anything yet. So this is with Euro Yarns Belviso, and I think the color is called Miranda, and it's this really lovely like kind of softly marled or speckled light green, exactly the kind of color I like. And I brought this one on the trip because it's at this point in it just simple stockinette in the round, knit around and around. I decided on this one to make a size small, even though my measurements lined up with the extra small, but I wanted something like really big and loose and oversized when it's done. So this is kind of just my take around with me everywhere project, and I think eventually I'll get it done, but I will be hopefully updating further on it. So that gets through the pre-Rhinebeck. So pre-Rhinebeck, I went to Wool and Folk, which was in Kingston, which is about an hour's drive away from me. So that was really cool. it was actually my first like yarn event of any sort. So I kind of went a little bit crazy with yarn purchases. So I brought my mom with me. She's not a knitter, but as you will see in a moment, she might become one. So I bought a few things. So the first thing I got was this Seven Sisters Arts. This is the Astrid. It's 70% superwash merino, 30% silk. And I got this gorgeous, gorgeous color that's like this deep, smoky, charcoaly kind of gray with undertones of like purples and yellows and maybe some like greens and pinks running through it. It's just really beautiful. Has this like beautiful soft sheen. It's a single ply, which just always looks 10 times more beautiful to me. And to hold with it, I got their Seleno lace. It's their silk mohair, and this is the color Fogbound. And this is like a little more simple, just like a tonal kind of gray, but I got these to hold together to potentially knit like a slip over kind of thing. I think that would be really like just a pretty like basic moody kind of piece. So then I got, this one's actually really exciting. So I got this really nice dark brown wool from Prato de Lana, which is a sheep farm in Massachusetts, I believe. So this is 100% Lincoln long wool, and the shade is called Hermanitas. And so what's really, really fun about this is that the farm was there at Woolen Folk, and they had a pen with 2 sheep in it, and they were these just absolutely adorable brown sheep with the most beautiful little curls in their fur. And my mom pointed them out to me, and she's like, hey, I was like talking to the guy. Did you know that 2 of the sheep that made this wool are the ones sitting there in that pen? And so that got me really excited because I got to go over and pet the sheep, and now I get to knit their wool. And so that's really, really exciting. So Donna and Esther, I don't know which 2 of them I met, but they were really cute, really sweet, really friendly little sheep, and I'm really excited. So yeah, so this is a 2-ply worsted weight, about 200 yards, and it's not a soft wool at all. It's a bit scratchy, a bit rough, but it also has a really pretty sheen to it. So I'm going to be knitting like a oversized cardigan with it, which I actually already started. I chose to do the Field Day Jacket by Ozetta because I seem to only gravitate toward the same 2 or 3 designers right now. But I got through the short row shaping on the back, and it's sort of like an interesting construction where you're knitting the back panel and then picking up at the shoulders and like neckline. But I haven't gotten that far yet in it, so you can't really see much, but the way it's knitting up is like, it's a bit stiff, a bit rough, but it has this feeling of like durability, that like if I wear this as sort of a light jacket or cardigan over a lighter weight pullover, that I can just wear this forever and ever and just for ages. And I think my dream is to pass this on to my children, so one day when I'm dead, they'll be wrapping themselves up in this cardigan to feel like their mother is with them again. And that way I will never leave. They're stuck with me forever. So yeah, that's my plan with this yarn. So I believe the last thing I got at Woolen Folk is this yarn from Wing and a Prayer Farm, and this is their Taconic Twist, and I believe this one is naturally dyed. It's a mix of a few different types of sheep and mohair. And it is, once again, this light, soft green color that I'm just in love with. So I got a few skeins of it. It says on the tag that it's sport weight, but when I looked on Ravelry, it listed it as worsted, so I'm not 100% on patterns I'm going to use this for, because that would probably require doing a gauge swatch, and I don't like to do that. So yeah, we will figure it out, but I really love this color. And this yarn is nice. It's softer than the one I just showed, but it's still got a sort of like rustic, rougher quality that feels just woolly and nice. So that is that. That was, I think, everything from Wool and Folk. I might show off just quickly though. They give us swag. I got swag. So, cute little drawstring bag. I feel like this would be a perfect project bag for a sock if I knit socks, which I don't, so I'll use it for something. Maybe like notions or extra knitting needles or something. They gave us this cute little cup, advertising magpie fibers. This is like perfect to have by my bed with water in it, so yeah, I'm not complaining. And finally this teeny tiny little like 8-gram skein of yarn. This is Blue Sky Fibers. It's a alpaca merino blend and it's very soft. I assume it can only be used for like duplicate stitching something onto something, but it is very soft and pretty, and it's kind of cute. I'll probably like put something through here and just like make it a keychain. So anyway, so that was Wool and Folk. So before I forget, before all of this, I headed over to Cece's Wool on Wednesday. Wool and Folk was Thursday. So Cece's Wool is my local yarn store. I really like it. They have a very large selection of like Malabrigo, and Cece is pretty cool, and she got a lot of popularity and attention at all these events, and so I'm really happy about that. I'm really glad to see my local yarn store getting some kind of notoriety. So I picked up this skein of, this is a organic merino wool, and it was dyed with Black-Eyed Susan flowers. I've actually been like eyeing these skeins since she first like dyed them and had them in the store, but I can never like justify the price of this with kind of the fact that I couldn't get a sweater quantity that all matched. Because there was a mix of different weights. They were all kind of slightly different colors. But I found this one left and I just bit the bullet and took it home. So this is like a DK weight and it's 4 ounces. It doesn't say what the yardage is, but I think what I might do with this is knit like a nice bralette. It's definitely, I think, soft enough. And again, same color of everything I'm buying, but I think it's really beautiful. So I am looking forward to using this. So Friday was Cake-palooza, and so I also went there with my mother. At this point she was like, okay, this is too much money. So she's like, no, you're not spending more money on this. Spoiler alert, I did. So I went shopping for some yarns because I had a project in mind. I wanted to make the Mod Tee by Petite Knit because same three designers every time. So what I wanted to do was find some sort of like fingering weight and like a mohair in some sort of like whimsical kind of color combination. And so I ended up choosing this really pretty lavender color. It's 100% superwash merino. It's from Toad Hollow Fibers. It's from their Autumn Fairies collection. I actually have never seen or used Toad Hollow before, but I thought this color was just really pretty and kind of dreamy. So I picked that up. And then for mohair, I kind of looked at the Cake Wool Co. and I picked up this, interestingly. This is their cream base. I have to say, I love this brand's whole naming all of their bases after cake stuff. I think it's super cute, but this is, again, just a silk mohair, kind of the same as all of them are, but the color is really, really pretty. It's just like a very light baby pink, but it's got like splotches and areas of deeper like magenta and green that sometimes overlap and make this like cool like bluish purple. I think these held together will at the very least be interesting. I'm kind of hoping that the effect I'll get is something kind of like soft and painterly and a little bit whimsical rather than looking unintentional or dirty or something. So this is, again, I have more than enough yarn I think for the project, so this is something I might do a nice swatch of just to see. But I think it will look nice. Hoping it will look nice. So also at Cake-palooza, I stopped by the knit collage booth because I did the spring 2021 knit along with knit collage and it was really lovely. Like, Amy and her team are just the sweetest people. Amy is just adorable. So I knew I wanted to stop by their booth just to meet Amy in person because we've only spoken on Zoom, and she totally lived up to my expectations. She is just the nicest person ever. But while we're there, my mother fell absolutely in love, head over heels, with the kaleidoscope cardi that Amy was wearing, and just their yarns in general. And so my mom's like, I want to knit that. Could I knit that as a beginner? And of course the answer is yes, you can. And so next thing we knew, my mother was picking herself out a kit for the knit along. And so, of course, because I'm probably going to do most of the knitting for her, I also got a kit. So I don't have all of the yarn here because I chose, this is my main color. So backtrack, I am doing the Express Yourself sweater, I think that's what it's called. It's using their new Serenity yarn base, which is much thinner than their other yarns. It's like a soft, like subtle, like boucle kind of texture. And it's a colorwork yoke sweater. It's just a yoke, like egg yolk. Do you pronounce them differently? Yoke? Okay, I'm questioning my life decisions. So, I got parchment as my main color, and they only had 2 skeins with them at the event, so they put in an order for me for the third one. I bought them all there, but they put in the order. So I'll have to get the third one shipped to me, but that's no problem. I'm sure by the time I need it, it'll be here. So For my contrast colors, I kind of went a little out of the box for myself. Normally I would just pick all the neutrals, but I remember, I forget who it was talking about choosing colors for things and saying like choose one color that you wouldn't normally go for. So I kind of took that and ran with it. So green again. This color is Electric Lime. Yes, I know I just showed a ton of green, but this is a much, much, much brighter green than anything else I use. And then I chose Peony. So pink, bright green, and beige. I have no idea how it's going to turn out. I'm thinking this is going to look very like pretty and spring-like. But no, I'm following my heart. I don't know how this color combination is going to look, but it spoke to my heart, and my heart could never steer me wrong, right? Famous last words. Pretty much my heart steering me wrong my whole college experience. All right, Rhinebeck. Yes, so that was Cake-palooza. Now finally on to Rhinebeck. So, I don't even know where to start. This was my first Rhinebeck. It was really cool. I got to meet a bunch of knitters. There was a knit collage meetup. I went to that. That was really nice. I met Vanessa from Knit Collage in person for the first time, because again, we've only spoken on Zoom. So then I was walking to go make sure I looked through all the buildings, and I saw one of my favorite knitting podcasters, Taylor Owen. I recognized her sweater from behind, and she was like, "Oh, are you going to the Christy Glass? Tell me about your Rhinebeck sweater thing." And I was like, she's like, go. And it's like, okay, so I did that. I petted a lot of animals. There was I don't know if it was a llama or alpaca. The llamas are the big ones, right? It was big, so I think it was a llama. But it was in there was a bunch of buildings that were just like pens for animals, for livestock. And so this llama sticks its head out and it's just begging for people to pet its face. So I just start petting it, and it's just like, oh yeah, loving this. And this other guy comes up, and I'm just like, this guy's really sweet. And he starts petting it, and he's like, oh, what a sweetie. So people just petting this llama, scratching under its chin. Oh my god, it was so cute. And then someone had Angora rabbits for sale, and I was so tempted to buy one, because they were the softest, fluffiest little things. They were just the most chilled out little clouds. Everyone was like gathering around, lining up to pet them, and these bunnies were just like, yep, whatever, I'm dealing with this. And oh my god, they were so soft. And of course there were more sheep. I petted the sheep, and I realized that I am such a typical millennial. I like animals better than I like people, and all I can talk about Rhinebeck is the animals I petted. So yeah, what does that say about me? So in no particular order, I'm just gonna go through the yarn I got. This one's closest to me. This one is from Canon Hand Dyes. It is just this falling apart skein, but really like soft, kind of like beigey champagne color. What got me to this, and you can already kind of maybe guess a little bit about the fiber content. It is Lawrence Camel Silk, 60% baby camel, and no, 50% baby camel and 50% silk. I can't read. Fingering weight, 438 yards. This is just the smoothest, shiniest, softest thing I have ever felt in a yarn, and it is beautiful. Not sure what I'm gonna make with it. Got 2 skeins. It's lovely. I love it. That just stood out to me, shown to me. I had to have it. So another thing I got, which this was later in the day, but this is from Green Mountain Spinnery. This is their Simply Fine fingering weight. And this is 40% kid mohair and 60% fine wool. It's this really pretty, like, natural brown color. It's very similar, nearly identical to the Prado de Lana, but this one's a softer kind of wool, more delicate, more like next to skin kind of soft, at least in my opinion. But again, I can't resist the single ply, neutral color, whatever. Don't know what I'm gonna make with this yet. I have 3 of them, which is quite a lot of yardage, so I think I can either hold it on its own, make something like really soft and delicate, or maybe hold it with a mohair and make it something a little bit more fuzzy. So, other things I got. Oh Lord. I got this yarn, which is like barely labeled. It is from Autumn House Farm. I wasn't able to find any information on it, like on Ravelry, but it's this like soft green again, because I am trash. It is 75% wool and 25% Angora, and I think it's probably about a DK weight, and it's just really soft and easy. I really want just an oversized sweater in this, which I think is probably what I'm going to make with it, something like that. It's just this lovely, lovely green that I buy everything in. So, what else did I get? I got, going with the hype, because again, level 7 susceptible, I got 2 skeins of Normal Silk Garden. What am I going to make with this? Probably whatever's trendy. No, I'm happy about the purchase, but yeah. So now me reaching farther and farther over, because there's so much yarn. I have a problem. So I bought these 3 skeins. This is the White Barn Farm Gray Tweed DK, and it is essentially exactly that. It is a 100% farm-raised Cormo cross. Super soft. So someone was asking the lady there about the cross part of the Cormo, and the story was apparently that she had Cormo sheep, and then a random ram got into her flock and got a bunch of girls pregnant. And so now they're a Cormo cross. And I thought that was really funny. So she was selling these skeins like in packs of 3 as a kit to make one of the petite knit vests, which I like. I'm not sure if that's exactly what I'm going to make, but there was a discount for buying them as a kit like this. So I went with that. I will probably take some time to decide what exactly I want to do with those. But it's just a really pretty, it's a soft gray DK yarn. I can always find something to do with that. So I think the final yarn, no, 2 more yarns left. Yes. So the next one is another mohair. This is from Mount Rutson Studio Yarns. This is called Nanook. It's lace weight. Colorway is moss green, and it is, again, the same color as every yarn I've been buying. And oh hi, there's a cat outside. Huh, what's he doing? Yeah, there's Lydia cat right over there. Yeah, so it is the same color, but there's little bits of gold and pink in it, so technically it's different. Technically. I'm thinking I might hold this together with one of the other greens that I got. I think that would be pretty. I got 2 skeins of this because I can't resist. I am a horrible person. It's bad. I have a problem. Someone in my life. No, don't. I know. Horrible things happen to people on YouTube. Yes. So, last but not least, the yarn. This was my first yarn purchase at Rhinebeck, but it is the one I am kind of most excited about. It is bunny yarn. Bunny yarn. This was from Llama Fanatics. Oh, where is it? I can't even find the name of the place. Laurel Ledge Farm Fibers. They have their website is llamafanatics.com, and they have an Etsy shop, which is Laurel Ledge Farm Fiber. This yarn, there's a picture of a bunny right on the label. It is 35% Angora Rabbit, 35% de-haired llama, and 30% merino. And it is glorious. It is 300 yards for 3.5 ounce skein, so that's probably like a sport weight-ish, maybe. It's soft, it's squishy, it's this gorgeous, like, light taupey brown. It's got these little, like, flecks of white in it, and it's so heavenly, squishy, soft, amazing. I love it. It's got bunny in it. Yes, this, I got 3 of these. Gonna be an oversized, just comfy, cozy, loose, soft sweater. I know it, because I just want this to wrap me up forever when I get murdered. Yes, so final couple of bits and bobs. That was all of the yarn. Thank God she's done, right? So I got, let's see, a couple of stitch markers, which I'm currently wearing as rings. Just being, you know, the typical cutesy knitter cat stitch markers on my middle finger. I'm not going to do that because I'm trying to be nice. Yes. And then finally from, I forget what the vendor's name was because I'll put it in the description box, but I probably should have prepared for this better by looking it up, but she's the vintage button lady that everyone goes to, and naturally I got buttons. So I got, first of all, this set of beautiful, I don't know if you can see them well, they're beautiful glass buttons. There are 5 of them, and I think these are what I might use for my cardigan. With these, don't drop them. Yeah, they're really pretty, just kind of simple, but have just like an interesting like sparkle to them. Let's see. I keep saying I'm terrible at this. Okay. I got this set, which was the priciest one I got. These really pretty. They were in a bin marked as like Victorian brass buttons. So these are like Victorian. They're really pretty. They've got this like flower motif on them, and they've got this sparkle to them, and they're tiny and delicate, and I really love them. And then, well, finally the sets, I got this kind of mixed set of greens, blues. Not sure what I'm using these for, but probably something nice. I really like this like heart one. That's really cute. Yeah, I think any one of the cardigan things I make. And then finally, I'm just gonna show one. I got 5 of these. These, oh, there we go. Teeny tiny little bunny buttons. Ah, they're so cute. Again, no idea what I'm gonna use them for, but I think the theme of this Rhinebeck was bunnies. So, bunnies, bunnies, bunnies. Alright, so that was my Rhinebeck haul. Now to talk about my Rhinebeck sweater. So I mentioned going to CC's Wool. That is my local yarn store. So I purchased this, she has this line of, I think it's dyed for the store. It's called Yarn Baby. They have the fingering weight in these giant, like 8.5 ounce skeins. They're like 1,100 yards in one. So I got this one. This is the colorway Berries and Cream. This is what I have left from this. Sandusgarn Silk Mohair in light gray. And this is the Balloon Cardigan by Petite Net. And this was my Rhinebeck sweater. So I finished it the night before at like 11:30 p.m. Cast off this like last thing, woven the ends, sewed a little tag in it, which I would show you, but I'd have to take off my cardigan and it's kind of chilly in here. Yeah. So the sleeves are obviously a little bit short. I haven't blocked it yet. I'm thinking it's gonna grow a tiny bit in blocking because I think the yarn, I'm pretty sure, is super wash. So I think those grow a bit. I don't know. I got these like $2 plastic buttons from Michael's. I didn't make a whole lot of pattern modifications. The only thing I did was shorten the distance between each button by 2 rows because I was worried about running out of yarn and I ended up with this. Yeah, typical. I am so terrified of yarn chicken that I make things too short. Actually no, I'm pretty happy with this length. This is the exact length I was looking for. And this is a size extra small, by the way. I didn't check my gauge, so I can't tell you if I got gauge with this particular yarn combination. You'll have to figure out for yourself if you want this. Yeah, sorry. Yes. And then the only other kind of modification I did was that I just knit less space before doing the sleeve decreases because, again, I was terrified of running out of yarn and I figured any deficiencies would be cured in blocking, hopefully. So I think that's why I wanted to knit this same pattern for these yarns because I want to actually try it out really following the pattern to a T, doing the exact like distance for the buttons, and also I really like this pattern. It was pretty easy once you get past the slightly complicated matter of getting the whole like neckband and raglan like setup going. It's smooth sailing. So there's about like an hour of kind of confusing work and then it's really easy. So yeah, so that was my sweater. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but I did a tubular bind off for the first time and I think it came out pretty good. I do like how crisp it makes the edge. I'm not really sure if it looks neater or if it's just thinner than a regular bind off. I don't know. Undecided. It's definitely not as stretchy as my normal stretchy bind off, which is the knit two together through the back loop, but that tends to make things kind of flare out at the end too, so it's definitely a trade-off. This looks neater, but it definitely struggles a little bit to get over my hands, and I think that's because I made an unintentional modification of doing an extra round of decreases when I think I maybe wasn't supposed to, because I think my stitch count ended up being less than it was meant to be. But it all worked out. I'm ultimately really happy with how this came out. I didn't have to like alternate skeins or anything. That's to the credit of the yarn that just, it doesn't pool. It was all just like dyed in such a way that it just comes out like soft and speckly. And the colors I chose, I was going for a kind of like cereal milk kind of vibe, and I think I achieved that. I hope so. Yeah. So final stuff. People usually talk about whips, right? So I already talked about that t-shirt and jacket. So I have a lot of whips. So I'm only going to talk about a select few that I've been kind of working on. I think that's an okay format, maybe. So I have a bit of an addiction to things other than yarn in that particular green color. I'm kind of addicted to Wool and the Gang's kits. I just think their designs are the perfect style for me. They just suit my aesthetic really well. I like their yarns. I love their colors. So I have like 10,000 that I'm sure I will show you at some point, but here's the one I'm working on right now. So this is the Toto Sweater, and this is out of their Touch Me Mohair in lavender. I have a whole other like mohair-esque lavender sweater, and I bought this. So this is the back panel, which I have just a couple rows of ribbing on, but I completed the front panel so I can actually kind of show you what this thing is gonna look like, unlike my others. So it is this really pretty all over chevron lace pattern with ribbing at the bottom. So the funny thing about this particular pattern is that you're knitting the ribbing on like size 4 needles and then the lace on like size 10 and a half. So the ribbing took me like 2 months to do because I was working so like slowly and it was just so tedious. And then once I got to the lace, it took me like 2 days. So it's an interesting one because I am currently